Our reading this morning comes from Reverend Scott Taylor, In the Name of All That Leans Down and Helps Us Up. We light this flame in honor of all that leads us forward, all that leans down and helps us up after we fall, all that reminds us why we started, all that tells us there is still hope and seeds of surprise. Even when no lights are in sight, even when warmth seems so far away, may this hour of tender and courageous connection help us to fall in love again with the wild world. May it reignite our trust that the path ahead will be gentle. May it tempt us back to joy. The board has decided to remain closed through April and will assess the situation every 2 weeks. I am deeply grateful for those who have been able to keep up with their pledge and even send in a bit extra. Several people have sent in extra money for the discretionary fund, which I use to help our community. If you hear of anyone in need or you yourself are in need, please let me know. After the postlude this morning, there will be time to share the ways that you are taking care of yourself so that we can all learn from each other. Then we'll take a few minutes for those who need to leave before breaking up into rooms for a virtual coffee hour. There's the ways to make a donation. You can go to our website and there's a donate button right there, or you can text and donate to the church in other ways. We're still splitting our plate with the Southfield Human Services Department so we can help folks in Southfield who are in great need at this time. We'll listen to the hymn, A Core of Silence.
A core of silence breathes beyond all words, or else the words have little worth. To heart or soul or spirit it comes forth. The words we name them matter not, and half of music lies within the pause between the arches of the heart. The print upon the page means less than ink, unless the white and black both speak. The true religion gathers up its text. In the beginning was the Word, but I see quietness behind that start, and name it nothing much less God.
Today's story is Wings of Change by Franklin Hill. Oh, Faith, I just love being a caterpillar, said anew as they wandered together in the garden. The morning dew tickles my belly buttons. The afternoon sun warms my fuzzy feet, and these soft green leaves taste so yummy. I never want things to change, not one little bit. Faith, who was a wise old snail, looked on with a smile. It was time for anew to learn that changes were in the wind. Faith led anew to a quiet spot in the garden where she could talk and he could listen. Her words painted glowing pictures of the miraculous changes that lay ahead for him. She spoke of brilliant colors, beautiful wings, being able to fly through the air. Faith then shared a bit of old snail wisdom. As the world turns, so do you. When you change for the good, you change the world too. Anu was very puzzled. He didn't understand what Faith was talking about. How could he ever have wings? He just wanted to stay a happy little caterpillar. So, as always, Anu spent the day feeling the dew, smelling the moss, and eating the leaves that he loved so much. That night, Anu had a very strange dream. He was still in a caterpillar's body, but he was thinking and acting like a butterfly. In his dream, Anu climbed up a bush, jumped off a branch, and tried to fly. Now, luckily, he landed in a soft puff of moss and had only a few bumps and bruises. The other caterpillars were shouting, "Anu, you're acting crazy. Have you been eating bad leaves?" When Anu awoke the next morning, he quickly went to tell Faith about his frightening dream. Knowing that Anu would soon become a butterfly, Faith smiled and gently said, "Butterflies can stand atop rosebuds. They view meadows from the sky. Butterflies hear the echo of the stars. So remember, little one, as the world turns, so do you. When you change for the good, you change the world too." Anu still didn't understand what Faith was talking about. So as always, he spent the rest of the day as a happy little caterpillar. That night, Anu had another unusual dream. This time, he still had a caterpillar's body, but with big butterfly wings, so bright, so beautiful, and so brilliant. In this dream, a strong wind blew Anu off a high branch, and he crashed to the ground. The fragile wings could not bear the weight of his heavy caterpillar body. His heart pounding, Anu awoke from his frightening dream. Relieved to see that he was still a caterpillar, he settled peacefully back to sleep. Later that night, he had another dream. Again, he had big butterfly wings, but this time his body was very thin and he had 6 spindly legs. Although he now had the body of a butterfly, Anu was still thinking like a caterpillar. So instead of flying, he was crawling everywhere in search of food, causing his thin legs to become very tired and sore. In his dream, Anu became frightened when a bird suddenly flew overhead. Still thinking like a caterpillar, he saw a thorn bush tearing his fragile wings. Thinking like a caterpillar does not work for butterflies. Early the next morning, Anu hurried to tell Faith about his dreams. Faith was most understanding. "Tonight," she explained, "you have a very special bed where you will sleep in a very special way. From now on, there will be no more bad dreams. So remember, as the world turns, so do you. When you change for the good, you change the world too." As Faith had predicted, that night, Anu began to spin a cocoon. "I don't know why I'm doing this," he thought, "but it sure feels right." While Anu spun and spun, he found himself singing. And you can say this with me. As the world turns, so do you. When you change for the good, you change the world too. His song made him feel so good as he worked long into the night. Very tired now, Anu slowly snuggled into his new bed. He felt safe and warm. A special light began to warm him from the inside too, touching every bit of his caterpillar body. "Ooh, that tickles," he thought, feeling very peaceful. Days passed and spring became summer. One fine morning, Anu awoke and began to untangle himself from his cocoon. "I feel so different," he thought as he worked himself free. "And I feel so happy." In his heart, he heard a soft echo. As the world turns, so do you. When you change for the good, you change the world too. His new wings gracefully opened, and a gentle breeze lifted him into the air, Look, he shouted, I can fly. I can stand atop rosebuds and view meadows from the sky. I can hear the echo of the stars. I just love being a butterfly. Anu flew higher and higher, singing a new song of faith. As the world turns, so do I. When I change for the good, I can touch the sky.
Our next hymn is Spirit of Life. Josh has our meditation this morning.
Our meditation this morning is from personaltao.com. It's called To Know Tao. To know Tao, meditate and still the mind. Knowledge comes with perseverance. The way is neither full nor empty. A modest and quiet nature understands this. The empty vessel, the uncarved block, nothing is more mysterious. When enlightenment arrives, don't talk too much about it. Just live it in your own way, with humility and depth. Rewards come naturally. The fragrance of blossoms soon passes. The ripeness of fruit is gone in a twinkling. Our time in this world is so short. Better to avoid regret. Miss no opportunity to savor the ineffable. Like a golden beacon signaling on a moonless night, Tao guides our passage through this transitory realm. In moments of darkness and pain, remember all is cyclical. Sit quietly behind your wooden door. Spring will come again.
Breathe in, breathe out. Breathe in, breathe out. Breathe in, breathe out. Breathe in, breathe out. When I breathe in, I'll breathe in peace. When I breathe out, I'll breathe out love. When I breathe in, I'll breathe in peace. When I breathe out, I'll breathe out love. When I breathe in, I'll breathe in peace. When I breathe out, I'll breathe out love. When I breathe in, I'll breathe in peace. When I breathe out, I'll breathe out love. When I breathe in, I'll breathe in peace. When I breathe out, I'll breathe out love. When I breathe in, I'll breathe in peace. When I breathe out, I'll breathe out love.
Welcome all. I first learned about the Chinese religious tradition Taoism in a class in undergrad. Taoism teaches that we should live into the Tao, that the path, the way, we should live into our path. It also teaches that the path or the way is actually unique to each person. It's different for every one of us. And most importantly, the path or the Tao can never be known. You see, once it's known, it's no longer the way. So we have to live it. It's different for everyone, but we don't know what it is. Needless to say, I was a bit confused by that back in undergrad. But recently, however, as life seems to have become much more beyond my control, I've begun to understand the Tao. To understand, you see, that we are now and we always live in the unknown. And our unique path actually is just our own way through that unknown. We can't see ahead on the path because we're learning the path. We're learning it as we go. And that's why it's unknown until we take it. Now, unfortunately, it's too late to get an A in that class back in undergrad, but it's not too late to practice living well into each unknown moment. So in simplest terms, according to the blog personaltao.com, Taoism is acceptance of your life in this moment, in each moment, accepting it. Taoism is following each breath in each moment to find peace. We're only taking this breath right now, and we need to follow this breath to find peace. Taoism is opening up a smile in this moment to enable possibility. That's the path, smiling now to enable possibility in the next moment. It's not a yellow brick road that we can see for miles along. It's simply a path that only unfolds as we step, and if we let it, if we don't predict or force it. You see, the unknown is absolutely necessary. Mystery is the source of all understanding. We can't learn from what we already know. We learn from the unknown. We enter into mystery and learn from what arises. We trust that if we let things develop organically, the next right action will appear. And that knowledge releases us from worry about what to do next. Taoism teaches a person to release expectations. Now, wait, I understand that's easier said than done. We have expectations. We need to plan. I know that. But here's some advice. Create only one expectation at a time and make it something that you personally and exclusively can control. For example, create the expectation that you're going to smile in the next moment. This then becomes something you empower to happen. You can make happen. You see, because anything you expect to happen that depends on a force outside of yourself, it sets you up to potentially be disappointed rather than just embracing what comes. Lao Tzu, the Taoist philosopher, talks about this as non-being and non-doing. And that doesn't mean doing nothing or being nothing, although I've spent many days recently at home doing nothing. But that's not what it means. It means embracing all, excluding nothing. It means not interfering with the Tao, with the way, but doing things which are natural and in line with the movement of the shifting landscape of the world, embracing whatever comes. To relate this to our current situation, we're accustomed to knowing things, or to think we know things, to be pretty sure that we'll go to work or school tomorrow and the next day and the next day and the next day. During other times, we know we're going to be doing that. We're pretty sure. We're pretty sure that our favorite restaurant will have our favorite dish when we want it. We're going to go in there, we're going to order it. There's no doubt that they're going to have it. We're pretty sure that we'll always have the choice of 2-ply or lotion-infused toilet paper in vast quantities every time we go to the store. We were pretty sure of those things. Now, however, it seems there is much more uncertainty. But here's the key. What we have to understand is, in reality, living with the unknown is not unique to this time. No one really can or ever has been able to guarantee what will happen from moment to moment, day to day. The unknown has just become, because of this pandemic, a more immediate awareness. We're more aware now that we live in the unknown. We're more aware now that we always live with the unknown. And the blessing of this awareness is that there is a precious opportunity right now to grow in our ability to live with the unknown, to live with that paradox that we tend to avoid, but we must accept that although some things are in our control, most are not. To learn not to predict so much or worry so much about what we don't know and can't control, but rather to find our own path, our own Tao, our own way through everything by, in religious terms, finding the grace in each moment, regardless of what may come in the next. And by grace, I mean the loving, kind, caring connection to all life. I mean the grace that is inherent in our Unitarian Universalist principles, the Tao of UU. The trick is not to fear the unknown. I know that's hard, but the trick is not to fear it, but to accept that it's always there, now and when this is over. We've been forced to accept it now. So let's take advantage of the situation to practice that acceptance so we can continue to live it after this passes. The unknown is there, but we are still living. Let's explore it. Let's not just embrace it, but let's dance with it. Be open to allowing the unknown to change your life and help you grow. Having said all of this, I will concede that there are some things we can know or be pretty confident about. We can be pretty sure, for instance, that a politician will say or do something stupid or selfish daily. That's not necessarily knowledge to take comfort in, but knowledge that we can take comfort in as we embrace the unknown with grace is that each moment will move to the next. There will be a next moment. We know that. And only if we've embraced this particular moment with grace, we can be absolutely sure that we're on the right path to the next.
Grieve not your heart for want of place, nor yearn for easy praise, but fit yourself some task to do, and well employ your days. From wise and foolish both alike, we should all try to learn, for one can show us how to live, the other what to spurn. Be fair to people when they err, when good your pleasure show, their faults be quick to understand, in judging them be slow. But this above all else obey, it is the best of goals. What you would wish not done to you, do not to other souls.
Thank you. I have a reading today. Some of our congregants at Northwest UU, shout out northwestuu.org if you don't know, encourage me to explore my Jewish heritage. So this reading today is from medium.com, and it's called This Too Shall Pass, Tracing an Ancient Jewish Folktale. So what do Abraham Lincoln, the Ben Ischai from Baghdad, Fariduddin Attar, and Anton Chekhov have in common? Well, it turns out to be a special fondness for an ancient Jewish folktale, which goes like this. King Solomon once searched for a cure against depression. He assembled his wise men together They meditated for a long time and gave him the following advice: make yourself a ring and have thereon engraved the words, "This too will pass." The king carried out the advice. He had the ring made and he wore it constantly. And every time he felt sad and depressed, he looked at the ring, wherein his mood would change and he would feel cheerful. While the phrase "this too shall pass" is common in Persian, in Nizbagzarad in Turkish, Bude Khezer Yahu, I'm mispronouncing these, I apologize, tracing its association with the ringtail proves a little bit more elusive. How the tale originated and spread across the world remains a mystery, shrouded in time. But what is even more astounding is the existence of actual rings, amulets, and even tattoos engraved with the Hebrew words Gam ze yavor, the philosophical words that translate to "this too shall pass." Now, while the phrase seems to have its philosophical roots in Maimonides, wearing the ring itself has a powerful emotionally therapeutic effect and acts as perpetual memento vita, reminding one to appreciate and celebrate every passing moment. While pointing to the fleetingness of time, the phrase itself is timeless, being literally true at any given moment when it is uttered, any given moment when it's uttered, since that moment of remembering too will pass. Now, it's easy to have resource to the consolatory phrase, "this too shall pass," it's easy to have recourse to the consolatory phrase, "this too shall pass," in times of trouble and distress. That's what we think of it. Oh, this too shall pass. But the trick lies in remembering the phrase during the good and happy times. This too shall pass, when it is a potent reminder to value and live life to the full. Look to the ring, and you will become wise as Solomon or Lincoln. And I just wanted to read that because at the end of my sermon, I said the one thing we can know is that if we live in grace in this moment, we're on the right path to the next. This too shall pass on to the next. And I pointed out to the ring because I actually carry this. I don't know if people can see it. Whoops, there it is. It's my own memento vita, and it says kindness, and it has a heart. And I carry this coin in my pocket at all times. It's my physical reminder to find kindness and joy in life, that there is kindness and joy. And when I'm feeling down, I reach in my pocket and I grab it and I hold it, and it makes me feel better, just like the ring did King Solomon. So when we go into our coffee room and our breakout rooms later, maybe you can talk about something physical that you have, whether it's a picture or a ring or something else that reminds you of the joy in life, of the grace in life, and put it somewhere near you during this time so that you can have that reminder, that memento vita at all times.
Our closing words come from Donna Ashworth. I'll do the closing words. We'll have the postlude, and then there'll be some time for sharing how we're taking care of ourselves, and then into coffee hour breakout rooms if you wish to do that. You stick around, and the app will automatically send you to a breakout room. The closing words. History will remember when the world stopped. The flights stayed on the ground, and the cars parked in the streets, and the trains didn't run. History will remember when the schools closed and the children stayed indoors and the medical staff walked towards the fire. They didn't run. History will remember when people sang on their balconies in isolation, but so very much together in courage and song. History will remember when people fought for their old and their weak, protected the vulnerable by doing nothing at all. History will remember when the virus left and the houses opened and the people came out and they hugged and kissed and started again, kinder than before.